Welcome, everyone, to This Beautiful Life, the podcast where I interview my friends and my neighbors and total strangers and try and find out who they are, how they see the world, and how the life that they live has informed their worldview. This podcast is an attempt to counterbalance a social media landscape which divides us into echo chambers and tells us that the people who don't think like us are our enemy. This podcast is an exercise in empathy and compassion, an exploration of the human condition. In today's episode, I would like to introduce you to Bruno. Bruno is a viewer of my YouTube channel who reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in interviewing him, and I absolutely was. This was my very first Zoom interview, which I was really iffy about, but it turned out really good. I think you're going to enjoy it. I would like to remind you that both Bruno and I are real people, so if you're going to make a comment on this podcast, make sure you're saying it in a way that you would say if we were right in front of you. And without further ado, enjoy.
All right, so first of all, thank you so much for inviting me and making this happen, right? It's a pleasure to meet you and talk to you. And as I told you, I came across your channel, it's been probably 6 months. Not only in real life, but the virtual life. We live in these bubbles, and sometimes I just feel like I'm only getting, the same I've been getting. And I usually go to there's an option on my phone that says new channels or what's new out there, and I clicked on that, and your video showed up to me. It was like permaculture, and it grabbed my attention so hard because, well, first of all, as you can see, you show us, all the viewers, beautiful footage and images from your homestead. And I wanted to share with you a little bit of my beauty with you. That's why I'm outside. So
it's
probably
so green and colorful
noisy
behind you.
It's probably going to be a little noisy, unexpected noises like birds or a neighbor's tractor, or my nieces are here. I asked them to be quiet just for 1 hour. But I don't think they will be able to be so quiet. They're 7 and 8. So,
Yeah, they don't do so well at being quiet at that age.
No. But what I was saying, okay, and and the permaculture just grabbed my attention because it's completely the opposite of my reality, right? And I was like, wait, let me see what's going on here. And I was like, fascinating. You do have an eye for putting the footage together. It's like cinematic, almost.
Well, thank you.
It's what a skill.
Thank you.
And I think, and I don't know if it happens to you too, like when you start following a new channel, I don't comment much because I don't know what's going on and what's the vibe, and just and after probably watching 20 videos, I started commenting and say, oh yeah, nice, this and that. And thank you for, inviting me to talk to you and letting me accept me.
Well, I'm glad that you wanted to, because everybody I've interviewed so far is somebody that I already know, someone who lives near me. So this is a completely different stepping outside of my comfort zone, which is something that I need to do as much as I can. And so cool. Thank you. So you are in Brazil.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to introduce myself to the people watching, correct?
Okay.
My name is Bruno. I'm 41 years old, and I'm sweating because I'm nervous and because it's hot out here. It's probably 32 degrees Celsius outside. What else? All my life, I was born and raised in Brazil. I only left Brazil in 2006 when I was almost graduating in college. And I went to the U.S. on an exchange program on a working visa to work at Walt Disney World resorts. And ever since after 2006, I was on and off as a temporary worker in the U.S. But I regressed. Talking a little bit about my background, born and raised in Brazil, rural Brazil, always living on a farm. I have one sister, and all that we ever experienced as kids was just, the farm life, the farm culture and chores. And we were not homeschooled because unfortunately homeschooling in Brazil is illegal and parents can go to jail if they do homeschooling. I've heard a talk about Congress passing a bill probably in the future legalizing homeschooling, but it's not yet approved. Um, what else? Okay, and me leaving the country and experiencing this work life in the US, I eventually met my partner, who is Greg, and we got married after a couple of years getting to know each other.
Oh, I've lost you. You froze.
Both were not happy living in the US. We just felt like, maybe it's just our vibe, who we are, or our personalities. We felt like a big burden of work and responsibility, like what people call the rat race. And we have been living in Brazil for the last 7 years, and we don't have like a big property. It's like a half acre homestead. And yeah, that's
awesome.
what my life has been. But please talk to me. Okay? Ask me questions and
So, what
talk
do you
to me
have on
too.
your homestead? I'm assuming you've got a half acre, so it's a hobby rather than a source of income, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe like a lifestyle. We would just want it to be like, wind down and have a more, a better connection to nature and a slower pace, right? Slower paced life. Initially, when we came down, we had so many plans and so much energy and so much money, and we made so many mistakes, Erin, that if I could go back in time, we both would have done everything differently. First thing is a barn for tools, because if you don't have the right tools on a homestead, you're doomed to not succeeding.
It makes a big difference.
Yes, and the first thing we thought was like, no, we need to have like a house. Even though it's a very simple house, the idea was just to like, have a barn house. But no, no, no. The first thing you need to have on a property is a barn for tools and feed and all of that. But okay, as I was saying, we had so much energy and plans that we had 3 cows, we had so many chickens, we had a kitchen garden. We still have the kitchen garden, okay? But as time went by, so many challenges because you might think like, oh, in Brazil must be so easy to grow your own food and raise your animals. I think probably we have different challenges, but it's I think as difficult as any other place in the world because here, even though it's warmer, we have challenges such as non-stop 4 months of rain. So it's like the rainy season that destroys everything, and then you have all of a sudden pests, and you have like extreme heat waves that kills crops and stresses the animals. So it's like it's like you feel like you're in this battle every single day. Unexpected things happen, especially I mean, I was raised on a farm. It was not my primary responsibility to take care of everything, but I had chores. But when it's on your own to, keep the animals well and feed them, and it's all on you, and plus maintenance, and it's a little overwhelming. So what happened was we had the cows. We got rid of them
Well, 3 cows
because
on
it was
half an acre. That's a lot of cows on a half an acre.
well. Yeah, the good thing is we have neighbors, and our neighbors they have big fields they don't use.
Okay.
So we had the cows, but we let the cows out in our neighbor's field, and they were
Okay.
okay with it. So they would just graze, right?
Yeah.
Graze in the pastures of our neighbors. So that was pretty good. It was a lot of work when the drought season came because we go through a drought every year, 4 months of drought, June, July, August, and September. So there is no grass in the field. So you would have just to buy feed. And it's expensive. But the thing is, we had a little bit of money saved, And then it started draining, and we needed to find full-time jobs to pay our bills and survive. And then it was really hard to just, juggle all the responsibilities of a homestead, because ideally we wanted to be like sustainable and, buy only the essential things that we can't produce, like salt and or sugar.
Yeah.
But no, if you don't really have the time and energy to put into it, and if you don't have a steady income, it's so hard. It was just driving us crazy. And we decided to get rid of the chickens and the cows. And now the only thing we have, like as in regards to animals, is we have two birds, like parakeets, two parakeets, and I forgot the name. Pheasant and a pheasant, and
Okay.
like one pheasant, and that's all we have. But I still keep my plants that I adore. When we settled in, the land was bare, so all you can see here is like I planted and I cultivated and I helped grow. So it's kind of like like a hobby, as you said.
Yeah.
It's a good way to just like relax after a long day of work. And I do have my kitchen garden that we eat off from the kitchen garden. Lettuce and parsley and chives and peppers and lots of bananas. And we just went through the mango season and we had like tons of mangoes, and now we're having passion fruit. So yeah, it's good. Sorry, too nervous. Did I answer you?
No, yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I was thinking about, you said you sort of like it feels a bit like a war, and I think that all the time. Like, I grow my own food because I love being in nature and I love nature, and but nature doesn't care that I love it. Nature has its own mission, and it just steamrolls me. And so I'm on the one hand I love nature, and on the other hand I'm at war with nature, and it's quite a complicated thing trying to farm.
That kind of reminds me that, as I said previously, it's not where you live, but how you feel about it. So people who are watching this might feel like, wow, it sounds stressful, right? I just switched like, one burden to another. But even though it's like a little bit of a burden now, we have fewer things, responsibilities to take care of. We feel good. We love it. We both there's so many challenges, and yes, there are days we feel like giving up, and we feel disappointed, and sometimes we even cry. But then we love it so much that the energy just, we get recharged just to see, because it's not like chaotic every single day, right? They're rewarding moments, like when you harvest something or when you see, a beautiful flower. So, yes, so I think you just have to pick your battles, right?
Yeah. And it's a battle that, because you've picked this battle, you don't mind fighting it because it's the one that you see as important.
Yes, and we love it so much that I said, yeah, there are days we feel like, trash. I was going to say like a bad word. But yes, there are more good days than bad days, for sure. And we love it, so.
Now, when you pared the farm down, when you got rid of the cows and the chickens, did you sort of tell yourself, well, maybe we'll get them again one day?
Not at that time, but I've been feeling like at least getting chickens, because it's so good to get fresh eggs. Oh God, nothing compared to like grocery store, grocery bought. I'm sorry, English is not my first language. Okay, so I might get confused with this order of words. Store bought eggs.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to fresh farm eggs to store bought eggs.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're actually disgusting. Okay?
And the
I've
color
been eating
of them.
fewer eggs because of this.
Anytime I see store eggs and the color of them, it's so sad and faded.
It's sad, and the taste is hideous. It's awful. We've been thinking about getting chickens. We had so many, and oh my God, we loved our chickens. Our chickens were our pets. We didn't kill them. We just, donated them to homes we trust, like, friends and family. But believe it or not, Aaron, we trained our chickens like dogs. They would behave. We would let them out. They would behave really well. They would know where they could, peck out. They would go around. They
Scratch,
wouldn't
yeah.
destroy the plants. And we would call them. They would come. It's like, because we had the time to spend, all this time we spent with them, with love and all that. There is like a connection. But we had so many. But probably, we've been thinking about getting maybe 5 or 6 chickens. That would be enough. Because then we can take turns and we can take good care of them, because there is no point in acquiring or bringing animals to a homestead or a property if you're not going to take good care of them, right? Like they really they need to have like a decent life, not only food.
How many did you have before?
Oh, we had over 30. We had so many eggs.
Yeah, that's a lot of eggs. So you must have been selling them or giving them away?
Yes. Oh, with the cows, we also sold. We sold. I know how to make cheese. We sold cheese. We sold. Yeah, but it's super easy, Aaron. But let me say, we sold cheese and butter. Butter is more complicated. It takes a while. I think it's easier to make cheese. So much work and process into the butter. But we sold fresh milk and all of that. But the thing is, we even sold fresh produce. But the thing is, the bill at the end of the day, it was just like, we were putting so much time and effort. It was like not paying our bills, and the money we had saved was just like draining from the account. And we were like, wait a minute, we need to survive here, right? And we needed to get full-time jobs. What I was going to say, oh my god, I wanted to say something, but I forgot. Anyway.
I just did my budget for 2025, and the amount of money that I spent on the farm versus the amount of money the farm made me, I spent almost twice as much as it made.
Almost twice as much.
So I sort of have to think of the money that comes in as, so the money that I spend on, the farm is for me, to provide food for me. And then the stuff that I sell helps cut out the cost of my own food. Like, that's the only way I can think of it that it makes sense. Because the farm would never make enough money to be viable on its own. Like, it's really just, the sales are just to subsidize my own food, and that's it.
Absolutely. That's how we think nowadays, just to subsidize our own food. Yes. So far we only get fruit and produce, and I really want to move into like 5 or 6 chickens, and it helps, right? Eating more naturally, healthier, organically. Maybe that's a problem, because all that we had here was 100% organic, and organic sometimes faces big challenges, like pests, and there's not a standard. You don't get like always the same results. Like, they vary according to what's going on outside. Well, I forgot what I wanted to say, but if I remember, I'll try to get it in.
So when I lived so I've always ever farmed here. I don't have any experience farming in other countries, but the girls and I did live in Uganda for 3.5 months, and so we
I watched those videos.
Yeah, on a great big farm. It was 340 acres, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got to ask them a lot of questions about what it's like to farm there, and because one of the things in Canada about pests is, the nice thing about winter is the winter kills off a lot of the pests. If you have a really good cold hard winter, you don't have as many pests in the garden in the spring. But of course you don't have that. And so I asked her about it, and she just sort of said that the pests have seasons. This particular bug only comes this time of year, and this particular bug only comes this time of year. Do you find the same thing there?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, same thing. All right, talking about pests. Yes, they do have seasons and moons. Believe it or not, when you're out here in nature, you start connecting yourself to the phases of the moons and the temperature and all of that, and even the sun exposure, and you start seeing things like this. But here, especially, I live in the southeast of Brazil, so it's not, close to the rainforest. So it's not extremely hot. Because right now in the rainforest, it's probably 42, 44 degrees Celsius. And where I am right now, 31, 32. So it's much, not cooler, but pleasant, survivable. But we do have certain times of the year that either it rains too much and then it kills um, certain weeds, it kills certain pests because of too much water. But at the same time, it brings other pests like snails
Right.
because of the humidity, and mold, and mold pores and mushrooms and all of this. And then you have completely the opposite, which is like, as I said, dry season. It's so dry that some of the pests they can't survive because it's just too dry. So in between all of this, you try to fit in and do the best you can with what you know and what you have. Yes. But I've never used like pesticides or anything like this. The only thing that I do carry around is this, like a bug
I know what
zapper,
that is. Yeah.
just in case there's like a bug that's annoying me, like not a mosquito, but like oh my god, a bug that is probably dangerous, and it's just like no, I don't want to take the chance and just zap it. But so far, haven't used it, and hopefully I won't have to use it during our conversation.
So, where did you learn how to homestead? Did you learn mostly from your childhood, or did you
Yeah.
learn from watching YouTube, or?
Right. So I was raised and I grew up on a farm. Back then it was a really big farm, and it wasn't my responsibility, but I was there and I didn't
Yeah.
have, many choices. And I was born in 1985, so probably talking about 95. I remember I had chores when I was really young, maybe even before 95, but like 95, 97, 97, 98. And back in that time, especially here in Brazil, things were different. Like kids had chores and you needed to um, do as you were told, and no back talking. You just like have to do respect your parents, and that's it. Then I learned pretty much by doing simple things because I was a kid or a teenager, and I was not in charge of milking the cows every single day. But eventually, I would just help eventually when it was needed. And I think I don't know a lot. As I said, we made so many mistakes, and I'm sure I'm still making mistakes, and I think that's the beauty of it, right? Because when you make a mistake, you're like, oh, now I know better.
Yeah.
And even though it's awful to make mistakes, but it gives you a relief to say like, oh, now I know better, or I can try different. But I learned a lot by watching, just watching my dad, my mom. My mom was always in charge of the kitchen, so like I honestly, I had never made cheese, and I just learned by watching. I was like, how did my mom used to make cheese?
Yeah.
Like recalling my dad, uncles, my grandparents. Back then, it was like an enormous farm my grandfather had, and then he kind of gave a little part or piece of land for each of
Okay.
his kids,
Yeah.
and then we were like all family, like a family farm. Good. But probably growing up on a farm, I didn't have other choice than just to, have this connection to nature or see the beauty of nature. Even though lots of my cousins hated it and they moved to the city and they love where they live, like in apartments, it probably, I don't know. Sometimes I just wonder, was it just always been there? It's part of me, to be like part of nature and connected to nature. I don't know, but yeah, it's really good. The good thing, you didn't ask me that, but the good thing of growing on a farm and having a simpler life is that you develop so much resilience and creativity.
Yeah.
And when you get to a more advanced age, you can use that in your favor. The work environment or in your own life, because you can think out of the box. Like you get ingenuity, creativity, things that people don't usually think about. And even though it's like jerry rigging, you know what it means, like to jerry rig
Yeah. Yeah.
something, that to work around it, even though it is. And you get, a big slap in the face, and you're like, wait, I've, I faced so many bad things, that it gives you resilience just to rebound.
Yeah.
And the good thing about growing up on a farm is that, Aaron, believe it or not, in my entire life, when I left the farm, I was like 18, 19 years old. Until the day I left the farm, I had never in my entire life eaten McDonald's, like any kind of fast food, like packaged cookies. We had cookies, like homemade cookies, but never in my entire. When I left the farm, I was like, finally, I'm free. And I just, I dived into all of these, and I ate so much junk food and I never had. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sick. Probably that's why, I decided to come back to my origins.
Yeah. But
It's
I'm
fun.
the same, because I grew up on like my parents had a hobby farm. And I was like, I can't wait to get out into the world. And then I went out and I traveled and I lived in cities and I did that whole thing. And then it's like this is what home is.
Yes.
And all of that was fun. And I'm glad that I did it. And I'm glad that I had those experiences. But it always felt like I was just sort of wearing a fancy suit. Like it never felt comfortable. This is what feels comfortable.
Yes. Even trying out, experimenting, never felt like 100% comfortable.
Yeah.
Same with me. Do you feel like this connection to nature and to the farm, it's because you were raised on a farm, or it's like it's just part of you, or you don't have an answer for that?
I feel like it's a part of everyone. I don't understand how
Okay.
anyone can live in a city. It's so unnatural. It's so different from how we evolved as a species. 99% of our history as a species, we were living in nature. So I feel like it's natural for everyone. It's just that people who've always lived in the city, I think it's just they've sort of adapted to it in a way that I can't possibly adapt to it.
Hmm.
Because even I know people who live in the city and they come out here and they go, oh, it's beautiful and it's so peaceful and it's a lovely vacation for them. And then they go back.
Yes.
And I'm like, why would you want to go back? Stay here. And when I go to the city, it's fun, but I miss the stars and I miss the
Yes.
moon and I miss the horizon and I miss the crickets. And, I
Yes.
don't know how they can live like that.
Yes. Yeah, okay, so we think pretty similar, because it's a paradox, right? If everybody lived on a farm, we wouldn't have cities, and I love the convenience
Yeah.
of cities.
Yeah.
Because if I need something, if I need a tool, or if I like, know what, I'm gonna go to a museum, I'm just gonna go downtown. It's like I can go because there are people living there.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, it's just bugs my mind.
Yeah. So how
Um,
was it? You lived in America for a little while. Is your partner
yes.
American?
Yes.
Yes.
He's from Ohio, so
Okay.
a rural area of Ohio. I'm not saying the whole state is rural,
Yeah.
but he is from a rural area, so he also has the same background, pretty much the same. And I think that's why we get along and we have similar plans. Um, it's my first long-term relationship. It's my actual. We're married because there's no other way I could stay in the U.S. where he could stay in Brazil legally
Okay.
if we were not literally married and applied for each other's residency. Um,
And
what
so
can I say?
I was gonna ask, him being from America and coming to Brazil with you, it adds an extra sort of dynamic to farming, right? To have someone who's not
Absolutely.
from there and learning
Absolutely.
everything about Brazil from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. I had that in mind, but I needed to develop the skill even further out, not to completely um, overlook him or just to say like, no, you don't know anything about this, right? Because it can't be a natural way to say like, you don't know about it, you've never experienced it. So I started developing the skill to just like, by the way, I forgot to say that I am a teacher. Okay, I
Okay.
am a middle school and a high school licensed teacher,
Okay.
and I started thinking about not treating him as my students, because I like not to impose things onto my students, but I like them to giving them the opportunity to realize, to perceive something exists or a phenomenon is happening. And once they realize that exists, I just stimulate them. I give them room to like, why don't you, be more curious, go further out, just like, research or investigate, find clues. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm just going to do the same thing to, my partner. Because when you take the lead and you're like, I'm the one who knows everything, you kind of just don't give the other person room for trying, for like trial and error. That's how we learn, right? And it was really hard personally for me to give him space and to let him try things, even though I knew like this is not going to work out, but I wouldn't tell him eventually, right? And it's been 7 years. I think we're pretty much at the same stage. We both made mistakes, even though I thought I was doing the right thing. I made mistakes too. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah, sort of.
Not really. So,
Has he? Because you say he grew up rural. He has experience with farming as well.
it's completely different farming, right?
Yeah. So
Um,
so that's like a point of conflict, like his experience in Ohio and your experience in Brazil, and trying to find like how to work together.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, what he brought with him was just like the culture of farming in the U.S. is completely different. First, because of the weather, right? The climate and the weather and the seasons. And in the U.S., they have much more access to uh, automation tools, more technology. And down here in Brazil, even though it's available, but it's way more expensive for you to afford specific technology. Let's say a tractor, right?
Yeah.
A tractor here would be like 3 times more expensive than in the U.S. And then what he started noticing was like there are more challenges related to acquiring things that can help us around farming and growing our own food. But then he developed the skill of jerry rigging, innovating, creating, thinking. It's just like, okay, if we don't have the money to buy this very specific something, how can we build it? And he likes it. It's like, initially he hated it,
Yeah.
but now it's an acquired skill.
Yeah.
He
It's
likes
actually a
it.
point
He's
where I
more
have
creative.
a bit of conflict with my boyfriend about that too, because he very much loves his tractors and his machines. And I'm of the opinion that they're great and all until they don't work. And if you have some particular job on the farm and you only know how to do it with the tractor, as soon as the tractor doesn't work, then you're toast. There's no way to do that job anymore. So I prefer to not rely on the tractors, because honestly, they're always not working. They're constantly breaking down. So I prefer to just be able to do everything with my own two hands. And that means that sometimes I am just doing things ridiculously difficult, and he's just sitting there watching me going, why are you doing this the hard way? We could be doing this the easy way. But yeah, I'm kind of the opinion that sometimes the machines make things easier until they don't make things easier anymore.
So
Yeah.
true. So true. And I also think that it's good to have survival skills, just in case, right? Even though you can't afford machines and tractors, it's good to have that extra skill, as you said, because what happens, they stop working and you can't fix them. Yeah.
Well, like last week, he was trying to lift up something really heavy, and his strongest tractor was broken. He couldn't get it started. So he had to use a smaller tractor, and the smaller tractor wasn't strong enough to lift this heavy thing. And I was like, I see when I was in Uganda, I would see people just like jerry rigging like a rope and a pulley system, and they would pick it up without a machine at all. but we don't even understand physics well enough to figure out how to do that.
Yes.
It's kind of like how I had a bit of a rant a little while ago about people who, because I burn with wood, I've had to learn all sorts of stuff about how to burn with wood. There's all sorts of physics and science and so on and so forth about the different types of wood and the way that, you know, the heat thermodynamics and all that stuff. Knowledge that other people have lost. It's something, there's something to be said about not relying on the machines, because then we use our brains more.
Speaking of burning wood, have you noticed this? Because I've never found anything online talking about this. There's certain types of wood that we burn, that they're kinds, right? A certain type burns longer and produces less ash or fewer ashes or less ash. I don't know if it's plural or singular. But others, like they burn really quickly and they kind of produce so much ashes.
Yes.
Many ashes. Oh,
Yes.
You've noticed that?
It's true, yes,
Wow.
yeah.
I've learned that too.
I'm trying to remember. They say not to burn, I'm forgetting, softwood or hardwood. One of them, one of them produces a lot more creosote.
I think it's softwood.
Yeah.
Because I burned a couple of pine wood recently and it was like, what? It just burned like in 10, 15 minutes and there was so much ash left behind.
Yeah.
Probably it's the soft one.
And it also produces a lot more creosote. So your chimney pipe is a lot more likely to get all filled up. So I just burn whatever. We go to the wood and the forest and we just harvest whatever we got. So I don't really pay that much attention to whether it's softwood or hardwood. But it means I'm cleaning my chimney like twice a year. And some people will go years without cleaning their chimneys.
Oh,
but they're a lot more picky
choose
about
the
what wood they're burning. So,
yeah. Okay, so that was good. You see, that's why I like your channel, because I can connect to people who kind of, go through the same experience or think similarly. Again, staying in the bubble, but sometimes it's comfortable to stay in a bubble and to kind of relate to other people who are going through the same, challenges, right? Recently on your channel, you interviewed your friend. I forgot her name. She has a permaculture farm.
Yes,
right?
Laura, yes.
Laura. And like, you asked her like, what was the question? Something like, how has your background or your life shaped to be who you are? Something like this. I don't remember exactly the question. And if you asked me the same question, I would say I'm being shaped all the time. I think until the day I die, right? Because it's like always a work in progress. And here's a question for you. Do you think you have made many mistakes so far living out there?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm making mistakes constantly, never-ending amount of mistakes, and also because I am sharing them on YouTube, and I get the extra. I'm generally pretty kind to myself when I make mistakes, but YouTube is not kind to you when you make mistakes. So there's that extra layer of doing it publicly. Making mistakes publicly is a bit of an extra challenge. So I'm having to develop a thick skin in that way. I think And then the other thing is I feel like I don't learn from my mistakes as well as I should. But I think actually the truth of the matter is that it's just complicated. When you're working with nature, it's complicated. The thing that worked in year 1 doesn't work in year 2. And the thing that worked in year 2 backfires in year 3. And then you have to go back to what failed in year 1. And it works in year 4. Like, I feel like I think homesteading would be a lot easier if it had been something that I had done every year since I was born, because it really is, you only get to learn, especially where I am with the seasons, you get 1 year and then you get another year. So any mistakes you make here, you have to wait a whole nother year to try and do better. And by then it's been a year and you've kind of
a
forgotten.
6-month growing season, like 6 months.
Yeah, well, I
Okay.
start growing indoors in March, and we plant out at the beginning of June, and the first frost usually comes around October.
Yeah, wow,
Yeah.
pretty short window there.
Yeah, the privilege you have. When I lived in Uganda, I remember they would just, they would plant a plant, grow it, harvest it, pull it, replant it, harvest it, pull it, replant it. Like, it was just a never ending. Whereas here, you get a chance, and if you miss your window, that's it. You wait till next year. Yeah.
Why can't you grow in the middle of winter? Can you grow anything like produce?
Not really.
lettuce?
So you can keep things alive if you have a heated greenhouse, but there is not enough sunlight for them to grow. So for instance, my friend that I worked for last year, she has a heated greenhouse. So if she can get the lettuce planted, or the kale or whatever, something like a hardy green, if she can get it planted early enough in the fall that it is established by the time the cold weather comes, she can keep it alive and she can harvest it all winter, but it will not grow. It won't get any bigger. To get bigger, you need, for it to actually grow, you need a heated greenhouse that has artificial lights. And there is one that we can see. It's probably about 10 miles from here. So we can see the light from it at night. It looks like the sun is setting. That's how bright this greenhouse is. But that's the only way to keep growing things.
Okay. Wow. So that requires a lot of money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
First, because you have to heat it up, and plus, if you go with the lights, you have to buy the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another thing that I noticed when I went to Uganda, was they weren't concerned about food waste the way that we are here.
So true.
And I wonder if it's the same in Brazil.
Same thing.
Yeah?
Because you guys have to think about, the tough months, the winter, right?
Yeah.
So that's like, if you have a good crop, you're going to can it, you're going to dry it, you're going to save it some way,
as
somehow.
much as you can. Yeah.
As much as you can. And same thing as in Uganda, here on my mango tree, we have mangoes every 6 months.
Yeah.
So we just had tons of mangoes. And unfortunately, I wasted so much. I just wasted. I didn't have time to preserve it, to freeze it. I didn't want to do it because I knew, like, in 6 months I'm going to have so many mangoes again. Oh, what a shame. It's so true. And it's not only here. It's like a culture in the whole country. Country. So much food is wasted. Good food. Everywhere. Not only, like people living in cities, their fridges. So talking about, it's a culture.
Yeah.
Because it's so cheap as well. It's so cheap. Like, if I don't grow my own food, I can buy it like relatively really cheap at the store. The only problem, though, is that it's full of pesticides. That's for sure. And the only good thing is that I know mine is like 100% natural. Even though it has a little bit of bugs, just wash them off.
Yeah. Yeah. The homegrown stuff it's not as pretty, but it tastes better, and it's better for you. Would you ever consider moving back to the States?
For now, Erin, I would say no. Because with all the challenges, and it's not a perfect place, we're really happy here.
Yeah.
Like we have a comfortable life in the sense that we're happy. We feel good
Yeah.
here. There, I think there is no perfect place,
No.
even though people think like, oh, the U.S., Canada, Europe, like first world countries, and Brazil, like underdeveloped country. Even though I don't know if it's the way I see things, I I've been to Toronto. I've just been visiting.
Yeah.
Beautiful place. As a tourist, it's perfect. It's wonderful. As a visitor, I would love to, as I have already, return to the U.S., but I'm not going to return so soon. Reasons should remain unnamed. But okay, as a tourist, great place. But like for living, not for us, not our vibe, not our style. It's like our pace for now. I'm not saying never, ever, ever. Well, who knows? But no, that's not our interest or wish. Speaking of interest or wish, where we live, my partner and I were both licensed teachers. And we love education. Okay, not the education as everybody is familiar with, because we're very different regarding this topic. But our dream is one day to have enough money, or when we retire, or who knows, to kind of turn our property into a community-centered learning. I don't know if the sequence was right, where we could offer, to the kids in the community, language lessons, dance lessons, gymnastics, and home economics, like, life skills, because we've seen in our daily work and routine that the kids are so attached to the phone or to this, virtual world that they kind of, forget that they're humans, they're people, and they're not developing certain skills that is also fun to develop. So, offering gardening or carpenter lessons or sewing, cooking lessons. It's just like, an after school program just for the kids to have some fun time out of the screen, just to get them off the screen.
Yeah.
But that's a dream, because it requires a lot of money.
Yep.
But we do have this dream, maybe for the future.
That's a great dream. I like that.
Let's talk about school and the education system. I don't know why, but I've always felt a little different for so many reasons growing up, but I was always very attached to learning. I was always thirsty and hungry for learning. And even learning English, I did it like by myself on my own, just by, I literally memorized the dictionary.
Awesome.
And you're like, okay, what about the pronunciation? Like in the dictionary that I still have it, in front of the word, you have like phonetic transcription.
Yeah.
And it's like, it gives you clues. It's like a game.
Yeah.
You go to the beginning of the dictionary and it's like, okay, this symbol is this sound. And then you kind of start, putting things together as a puzzle. And of course, I always needed to go to school, because as I said, it's illegal to homeschool in Brazil. And I never felt comfortable. I never felt respected as a student. I never felt understood as a student. I always felt like I need to meet the expectations, even though they're very hypocritical, meaning I don't have to learn for real. I can just fake or memorize something for a test and done. You get a diploma. That's how I always felt. But I was always so drawn and having passion and love for school and this environment and the education. I've always known I wanted to be a teacher. And I went to college and I graduated as a Portuguese, English, and literature teacher for middle and high schoolers. And it's amazing. I was so lucky to meet a partner who went pretty much through the same experience, and we think so similar, that we as teachers, we are the teachers we never had in our lives. We try to be the teachers we always wanted to have. Of course, there's the curriculum, the system, the principal, the school, and all of that. And we're right in the middle, right, as a middleman, trying to include the students, try to be more flexible with the curriculum. Also, we don't want to lose our jobs.
Yeah.
So it's like we're like in the middle of this war zone. And having a community center, it would be like 100% our style, you know, our rules, our system. But what I want to say is, I don't know in Canada, but in Brazil, I've seen very few teachers, like my partner and I, who are willing to be more flexible, who are willing to include students' interest, or who are willing to, captivate or stimulate students' curiosity and give them an opportunity to be, more active than passive, just that passive memorizing learning style.
Yeah.
Very few.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that I chose to homeschool is that when I started researching how children learn, it's completely different than how schools teach. Would you say that you feel the same way?
Same way. Absolutely. If later, I don't know if you're going to edit this video, but there are 3 principles that I follow with my heart, which is the learning pyramid. I can even send you the image. I don't know who created the learning pyramid. Have you ever heard of it?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so there's a pyramid, and you have the volume, right? The top is a very small part of the pyramid, and the base is the larger part of it. And then you can show the image, but then by percentage, you have memorizing, you have lecturing, listening to something. And according to the pyramid, the best way to learn something is when you reach the point that you can teach others. It's not only practicing. They all have their value, right? It's important to listen to a lecture, yes, but it's not mainly the lecture. It's important to go through guided practice, yes, but it's also important to teach others, because when you teach, you're in charge of that moment. And you're not only using all the knowledge you have, you kind of dealing with the unexpected issues that happen. And there's so many skills. And you asked me about, so 3 principles, the learning pyramid. I love Vygotsky, ZPG, zone of proximal development. Have you ever heard of this one?
No.
Okay, that's a good one too. So it's really old. If I'm not mistaken, it's 1930, 22, 30.
Okay.
Old. But it means that kids and adults, we all learn by being next to someone who knows a little bit more than we know.
Yeah.
And that a little bit more challenges us to leave our comfort zone. But it's a very interesting theory that's much more, it's broader than what I'm saying. But I like guiding my teaching principles on that. And there's an educator, a philosopher, a Brazilian philosopher, and his name is Paulo Freire. And I'll send you all the information, maybe 1960, 1962. He's a very prolific writer in the educational environment, and he believes that educating is not having grown-ups impose a system, choose the curriculum for the kids, and overlook them completely. They don't have a voice, they can't do anything, they just have to fit to the grown-ups' expectations. And he believes education is a way to free and teach critical thinking to kids. These are all the principles. So yes, I try to merge all of these into my classes, and the reaction of my students is that most of them, they like it, because it's a different way that I propose things. I don't impose. I present and I tell them, sometimes I even give them choices. Like, we can do A, B, or C today. What do you guys want? Right? But it's not out of my mind. It's all planned, of course. And they kind of feel like they can choose. They have a voice. I can adapt. I can always adapt. I can be flexible. But always trying to, I don't have kids, but I look at them, I deal with them, I work with them as if they were my kids, right? Like, if I had kids, like, how would I want my kids to learn and to perceive the world and to deal with the unexpected situations and to deal with the mistakes? That's pretty much, it takes so much time and energy. That's why everybody needs to do what they love to do, because if you think about, I'm going to be a doctor just because of the salary, it's a good wage, you're going to be a terrible doctor. You need to do what you love to do.
Yeah.
Because then planning and studying and coming up with all these ideas becomes like a hobby. It becomes easy.
And eventually the novelty of the money wears off and things start to get hard. And if you don't love it, then it's very hard to keep pushing through if it's not something you're passionate about.
Yes. And I don't know if it's true in Canada, but I do have so many workmates who only come to work because of the money. And that's why they're rude, and that's why, students don't like them. They don't like to be there.
Yeah.
And it's funny, as we were talking about a work in progress, right? All that I got trained in college did serve me a little bit, but I always have to, pick up the slack or keep up with the trend, because now we have AI. Erin, you have no idea. It's like the phones started with the phones, and then the internet, and then the games, and now the AI. So it feels like farming. Every single day I have to deal with unexpected things.
Yeah.
I have like, oh my God, now I need to learn this new skill. I'm still learning. I have no answer. The perfect answer. I'm making my mistakes with AI and the students, because if you ask them to do something at home, they don't do it anymore. AI does it. They bring it, just done by AI. Learning.
It's funny, the interview that I'm editing for this week, she's a teacher as well at the university level, and she says exactly the same thing. The kids are doing these AI essays and they're all the same. Whenever they use AI to do something, they all come up with the exact same. There's no original thought. There's no depth to it. It's just something that a computer spit out.
Then, because I love what I do, the first thing I need to think about is, what am I doing wrong with the new demand? That is, it's not adjusting, right? And I'm trying, to teach them, to show them how we can be creative, how we can use our logical conclusion, how we can connect the dots. Because especially after the pandemic, the kids just, came back to school, I don't know if I can say this, at a lower level of logical thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe they're lazy. I don't know. They just got a little lazy, and we have to, train them or teach them how to tell them, like, no, you're in charge. You can use the tools, to charge your ideas, or to just check if there's some gaps you don't see and all of that. But it needs to come from you, right? It's hard. It's hard for the teachers, hard for the kids. But I mean it. I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah.
And
Good for
what's
you.
going to happen. I already predict the future. When I'm like, yay, I'm surfing this wave, I know how to deal with AI, then something new is going to show up, and it's going to ruin my teaching life again.
I've been thinking of, what I said before about tractors? About
Yes.
it's nice to have the tractors around here to do the difficult jobs, but as soon as they don't work, then I now no longer even know how to do the job without the tractor. I think AI is the same. We all want an easier way to do things, and that is great and all, except that when AI is doing the work for us, we lose the ability to do it. And then one day AI is not going to be there for us, and we're going to be just baffled because we won't know how to do it without the AI doing it for us. Yeah. But then how do you tell kids that? How do you tell kids, I know you want to do it the easy way, but you have to do it the hard way because it's better for you?
I'm lucky because where I work, it's in a public school, so I can, teach my kids from the 5th grade all the way to the 8th grade. So I have like 3 years to work with them. So it's like a slow process. I follow the groups and all of that. But it's hard when you have a turnover of teachers and like different styles and different beliefs and different ways of dealing. And the kids, they just go crazy, probably. So I'm lucky. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is education free in Canada? In
Yes.
the sense that, okay, nice. Because in Brazil too, it's free all the way up to your master's, doctor's degree. You can do like
No,
all you want to do.
ours is only free until the end of high school. University and college you have to pay for. But we do have a government funding program that if you're from a low-income family, you can apply for government funding. You do have to pay it back when you're done school.
Okay, probably low interest rate.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And it's not nearly as expensive as American universities and American colleges. They're getting more expensive all the time, but they're not as expensive as Americans.
Okay. Why did I talk about this? Just curiosity. I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude, but down here in Brazil we get like lots of news from the U.S., from America, but we hear very little about Canada. All I know about Canada is just because I go online and I try to research, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like there's much more nature. People are so, I think, more aware of this connection, like the human footprint and the nature, and even the native people tribes or indigenous tribes. I feel like, that's what I feel when I read or I watch things. And I was just curious about the education process. Brazil is a little socialist, even though it doesn't say so. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but here there's universal health care. Of course, you're not expecting to go to a fancy hospital with a very short wait list. There's the public higher education. I don't know if we can say higher education, so you can study as much as you want forever, but it's not for everyone because there's not enough universities for all the people. So you do have to take a test, and according to the competition, if you get a good grade, you're in, but you don't have to worry about paying it. But there are private universities as well.
Okay.
Yeah, just saying it. I'm not saying, for people who are watching this, I'm not saying that like everybody should go to college or everybody should go to school. I'm just saying like it gives you the chance or the opportunity to get a diploma.
Yeah.
It's like a driver's license.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have learned how to drive, or it doesn't mean that you have learned a profession. It just gives you the right of passage.
Yeah, I agree. I think everybody should have the opportunity, whether they want to or not. And also there's a lot of, in Canada, there's a lot of push to go to university, when really there should be a lot more push to go to trade schools, to learn to be a plumber or a mechanic there's not a lot of, it sort of gets poo-pooed, like it gets treated as lesser than. And I think the trades there should be a lot more emphasis on going to the trades, because that's important work and it's good paying too. So a lot of people go to university and study, English or history, which is a great way to expand the way you think, but it's not necessarily for everyone.
Yes. I have only gone to college just because the job I wanted to do required a diploma.
Yeah.
As I said, a driver's license, a license. So what?
Yeah.
Right? I had to. I was forced to.
Yeah.
That's it. It added, it helped me. Yes, I learned some things. It was good. But I hope people understand that I'm not, being snob or snobbish or saying like, I think everybody should. No, I'm just saying like, just wanted to hear what's the situation in Canada.
Yeah. So you're glad that you live in a country where the government will pay for university if you want to go?
Ooh, we have so many problems here. Corruption, that's problem number one.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much money in this country. Oh my God. And the money just vanishes.
Hmm.
Violence, there's a lot of violence, but not in the whole country. Very specific places
Okay.
where it's like a chronic violence that it's always been there and they don't know how to fix it. Like a big city of Rio de Janeiro with, the slum, this is a structural city problem that they can't seem to fix it. But other parts of the country that have newer cities and other ways of seeing life, we don't have as much violence. So what I was saying, gonna try to answer your question. I'm glad to live in a place where I do pay a lot of taxes. Uh, I let me try to remember. I think I paid around, because it depends on the kind of goods. I pay around 20 to 50% on goods. Okay,
Oh,
if I
wow.
go to the store, I'm paying around 20 and 50%. It depends on the goods. If it's like a
Okay.
cell phone, it's higher taxes. If
Okay.
it's like, I think food, if I'm not mistaken, food is free of taxes. Like food, like fruit and staple, like staple
Okay.
food. I
Yeah,
think it's free of
necessities.
taxes.
Yeah.
Necessities. I think it's free of taxes, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mistaken. But the tax is free. So I pay on goods from 20 to 50%. That's a lot of taxes. And income taxes um, from 12 to 25. But they're going through a change now that if you if you get two minimum wages, it's gonna be free. But something like, but right now, what I have paid so far, it's around 12% to 25% of my income. It depends on how much you make as well. The
Yeah.
more you make, the more you pay.
Okay.
So they get a lot of money from taxes. And even though I don't use the hospital as much, I've used the college, yes, for free. I'm okay. I'm okay with, because I know there are a lot of people who really need and struggle to survive, and they have the chance, the opportunity. If they feel sick, if they have an accident, they get treated. They don't have to worry about a
Mm-hmm.
bill. Okay. Um, I've met so many humble people who came from very poor families, and they always had that wish to go to college, and they managed. They could go
Yeah.
because they wanted to. So I like, that there are possibilities out there, and I'm not complaining about paying high taxes.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
There are things that need to be improved. Yes, we want. Let me see. What do we want? We want better infrastructure. What else? I think that's it. Better infrastructure.
Yeah. Yeah. When I lived in Uganda, the government doesn't pay for anything there. They have to pay for school themselves. They have to pay for doctors' visits themselves, dentists themselves. Nothing is paid for. And I really saw just how much that means that the poor stay poor forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no
yes.
way for them to break out of it unless someone
Yes.
scoops them up and rescues them. There's
I
no
don't like
way
that.
for the poor to ever get out of poverty. And I could really see what a big difference that made.
I don't like that. When my partner arrived here in Brazil for the first time 7 years ago, he was like, I don't understand, with so many opportunities, like so many choices, why do people want to live like this, staying like, having a poor life? It's just because they want to. Of course, there's a structural system that keeps them in place, which is probably more psychological and mental,
Yeah.
yes. But I like that people have the choice if they want to.
Yeah.
They want. If they don't want, you can have the life you want to have.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted to impose everybody to have a better life.
Mm-hmm.
Like more beautiful homes or walls and this and that. And it's like, it's not good to impose things on people.
Mm-hmm.
They have to wake up one day and decide, you know what? I think I want this. I want to experience this and that.
Yeah. Okay, I have one political question I want to ask you, if you're okay with political questions.
Yeah, I don't know, because, guys, all that I'm saying is from my perspective, is from the way I see the world, and from the way I experience. And it also, in Brazil, it also depends so much. Okay, it depends on your skin color. It depends on from the family you come from. It depends from the region you're born in. So what I'm saying is all that I have experienced, but I know that people have experienced other things because they were born in different areas. They have suffered so much prejudice. They were not given the opportunities. Okay, and all of that. I don't know if I made myself clear. Okay, I'm not painting the perfect picture, but I'm just saying my experience so far is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have any, there's no threat being gay in Brazil. There's not a lot of danger there. There's not persecution for.
There used to be until 1980, I'm going to say 86. Brazil went through a long time of dictatorship, political dictatorship, and in 1986 or 7, if I'm not mistaken, it was over. Democracy kind of, people fought for it, right? There was like people out in the streets fighting for democracy, and when democracy won and there was a new constitution, this country changed, and it was like open to different cultures, people, genders, very embracing to all, because it was not like this. It was just like, for very few people, if only you were white, straight, rich, European descendant, or descendant, you had, the privilege of accessing things. And after this time, that I don't remember, 1987, 1986, it was like, it's for everyone. Then it's when I'm talking about universal healthcare, universal public free education. There's probably more universal retirement. Everybody deserves to get a retirement, even though if you've never worked in your entire life. Social programs. Even getting into the university, you need to take a test, and the test takes into consideration quotas. Like, you come from a public school background, your quota, your grade is going to be different. Or African Brazilian, your quota is going to be different. So I know it's like so many boxes for so many things, but at least gives people, a chance.
Yeah.
So from 86 to 96, that's when I was growing up. It's the transition. My parents, they were very hesitant in me being gay, and they told me later on they were very scared of, diseases and all of that. 2006, when I was like 20, 21, and it's just like, it's the freest country in the world. We could do anything we wanted because it's a hot place. Brazilians are happy. They like to dance, to samba, to celebrate, to do all of it. They're like, happy. They're happy with like 365 days per year. It was good. But then, like a shadow, passed in Brazil in 2019, 18, and then it was like, very conservative, loud, the political environment. And I think it's just becoming a little more conservative, maybe around the world. I don't know, it's strange. It's a little strange. But okay, so far, it's okay accepting, never had any prejudice, no. Nobody ever has denied me any job. I've always had, was always really well treated anywhere. And I can say that for the majority of my gay friends too. They feel like it's safe, it's okay. People are really well respected.
Good.
There are cases of violence, yes, but very specific other places that I'm saying, just they already have this violent, chronic situation, like Rio. There's a very specific group of. I don't think I can say the name. Like a very conservative people.
Okay.
From back then in Germany, like this group of people who think like just like so okay, if you like in Rio and São Paulo big cities that you kind of have like gangs like this, but not so many. And unfortunately, you cross their path, and they're willing to impose suffering. They're willing to pick a fight. Then you're screwed. But there's going to be, of course, police involved, justice, and indictment, all of that. But yeah, justice doesn't stop people. Rules, but it helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Erin, I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah,
Erin.
you are. You are.
We can start wrapping up, so you can, take me
All right,
to the final.
I've got one more political question I want to ask you. And if you don't want to answer this and we cannot put it in, it's up to you.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Does what's happened in Venezuela worry you? Like America,
Yes.
America has a history of like meddling with South America. And now they're just doing it so blatantly and obviously. So yeah, it's a concern.
Yes, absolutely. I think it was a bigger concern when it happened because it's just the indignation within my beliefs and who I am. And then I decided to stop watching the news because I don't want to suffer from anxiety. But yes, absolutely. When you have unprecedented situations like this, it just opens to new possibilities, to uncharted territory, to things, unexpected things that unfortunately cause, hurt people, suffering, and destroy the lives of so many that will never be mentioned, remembered, and they're just like, seen and heard in the news as just a disposable plastic cup. Like so many who have died so far because of this. Are they drug dealers, smugglers? Well, or so now we're deciding who lives and die just because of what they do. Don't they deserve to at least, get a judgment, or, I don't know, you're just killing people?
Yeah.
And it's just, it worries me for maybe being the beginning of something even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, everything's just going to be the same way. But who suffered the most are the people who are most vulnerable. As we all know, people who are already struggling to live are going to suffer the most. Are the millionaire and super rich going to suffer? Yes, they're probably going to lose, some percentage of their stocks.
Yeah, exactly.
But who's taking the chance to lose their lives are these most vulnerable people.
Yeah.
Who are they? Poor, the people who have unstable jobs, people, farmers. Yes, farmers are very vulnerable too.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a good, sum of money sitting in the bank in case something happens.
Farming has a very small profit margin. It doesn't take very much for us to be,
Yes.
pushed over the edge.
And we're always dependent on supply too, supply of things. So maybe you need feed, maybe you need fertilizer, maybe tools, gas. We need things to run a farm. And I'm a little bit of a prepper, just a little bit, okay? Prepper. I'm always ready for the worst.
Yeah.
Not 100%. So I think it's important to, if you have your own property, to think about, you need to have your own source of water, you need to have a wood stove, and you need to have skills to survive, just in case, as you said, you have no tools, you have no electricity. How are you going to do the basic things to survive until things get better? Because it's always like this, right? It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It gets really bad, and then it gets better and better, and then it gets really bad.
Yeah. And we're we're doing this right now.
Thank you so much for talking to me, because it's hard to talk to people who are open-minded like you. Thank you. And even though I go to work, have my workmates. I don't get to talk to a lot of people other than to my partner. So thank you for giving me the chance to talk to you. What I was going to say.
About the roller coaster.
Oh yeah. And you know what upsets me the most about the Venezuela situation is that I'm going to say we, South America, okay, we got the hit from the least expected opponent. Like, from the place that's supposed to be very well educated, polite, um, good manners, first world awareness of, people, environment, humanity. It's like, and you get the hit like this, just like it's so unexpected.
You mean like
You could
America, how America's supposed to be the greatest country in the world? Like that kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I grew up watching Hollywood movies, believing like, yes, Superman and the best place of the world. And it's just like
Yeah.
the educated, well-mannered, good manners, polite. And then you get this hit. But I know one person does not represent the majority of the population. I know, because I have some family in-laws still living in the U.S. and they're not happy. They're not happy. They're disappointed. I don't know if they're disappointed because of me and they like me and they get disappointed. But yeah, we're always interacting. I think people can have the opportunity to change their mind. All that I'm saying here today, I wish I have the right to change my mind too. Probably it's not going to happen. Okay, I'm not going to change my mind. But I like when people, have the right to like, I was acting this way, I was thinking this way, but I changed the way I was thinking. So it's like, I think everybody has the right to just change.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to even say for better or worse. I've watched your video about like there's good or evil, good and bad.
Yeah.
I don't have it's a dilemma. I don't have the answer for that either. But it's just like, good and bad according to what? Am I getting hurt? Bad.
Yeah.
Am I getting, there's benefit? Good. So it's like hard, but it's just changing their opinions. Aaron, have you ever seen a passion fruit?
Yes, I
Passion
have.
fruit.
Passion fruit was one of our favorite things when we were in Uganda. They were delicious. The kids would always race. Every day they would race to the passion fruit vine to see if there was a new fruit ready. And then they would smash it open on a rock and, scoop it out. Yeah, it's one of our favorites.
I'm asking you this because I'm under a passion fruit vine and it just keeps falling. I have a couple of them on the ground.
And passion fruit flowers are so pretty.
They're pretty. They're very pretty.
Yeah,
there's one here.
I would like to have a chance to garden in a place where I could grow passion fruit.
Yeah, I don't think it would grow in Canada because
No, it would not.
it takes probably a whole year for the vine to get strong enough to bear its first fruits. And the vine, this one I've had for 3 years. I think I'm not sure, have to look it up, but probably a passion fruit vine lasts for 6 years, 7 years.
Okay,
Not forever, but for a long time, right?
cool.
And every 6 months you would have a new yield, a new crop, some fruits.
The one that so right now I am trying to grow a pineapple in my house.
Oh,
It is if I remember correctly, I believe pineapple takes 18 months to produce a fruit. Yeah. That was what it was in Uganda anyways. This pineapple is 2.5 years old.
just like mine.
Yeah.
Just like
Oh yeah?
My aunt visited me recently, and she has a pineapple plantation, and she gets pineapples like in 8 months, 9 months. And I was like, I've been growing this pineapple for 2 years and a half, and so far no signs of getting like a pineapple. It's just like it's growing, but I don't see any signs. And we were like, yeah, it's so weird. It's like same temperature, maybe same zone, but it's probably soil. I don't understand what it is. Do you guys ever heard of lunar a lunar growing calendar
Yes.
or lunar plantation. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
the
same
woman
thing.
Laura from the permaculture farm, she uses a lunar calendar to decide when to plant and that
Oh,
sort of things.
okay. So first time I'm gonna try this year. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying this year. I've never tried. I've heard it exists, but I'm gonna try this year, and I'm waiting until the end of the month to plant a couple of seeds because it's on the right moon.
Right.
And I'm gonna try it out. Always experimenting. It's fun. It's fun.
That's sort of how it is as
So,
a gardener. I'm like, maybe this will work.
yeah, it's like a lab, just
Yeah.
like you're out in the lab and just
Yeah.
trying things.
Yeah. Problem is, there's too many variables, so you never really know if this thing that I did is the thing that made the difference, or if it's something completely different. Because there's just too many variables. And people always say, "Oh, you're so good at growing that," and I'm like, "Well, this year I'm good at growing it. Next year, who knows what'll happen?"
Yes, we never know. Well, before we wrap up, let me ask you something controversial.
Okay.
Is climate change a thing in Canada?
Yeah,
Because I'm going to
absolutely.
tell you, in Brazil, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel it there.
We feel it. Like,
Yeah.
we feel it. We can tell. Like, 7 years ago, the difference, it's such a short period of time. It's either much more, we get much more of everything. It's
Yes.
like much more intense.
Yeah. It's the
It's
same
either
here. Yeah.
same thing, much more rain or heat wave.
Yeah.
It's like intense and longer. It's like
Yeah.
weird.
And the
Okay.
swing back and forth from one to the other is so much more
Swing.
dramatic.
Yes.
Today it is
Yes.
16 degrees out. It is January and it is
Wow.
16 degrees out. It should not
Feels
be
like
this
spring.
temperature. Yeah.
Wow.
And so then everything gets confused. The trees and the animals all get confused and they think it's
Okay.
spring. They start gearing up for spring and then next week it'll probably be minus 20 again.
Okay. Same
And
thing.
it
Okay.
affects everything. Yeah. It has been.
I sent you a message earlier saying that we have a beautiful day
Yeah.
here too because we've got like 2 weeks of non-stop rain. It's like non-stop. I had like 30 heads of lettuce. They were gorgeous because of so much rain. They're all gone. Like they deteriorate, and I was like, Sometimes I'm too greedy. I'm like, should I pick them up? And I'm like, no, let them grow a little longer. And I lost all of them. You see, greediness. I should have harvested them.
My thing that I've started doing now when I'm in that situation is I harvest half of it. I'm like hedging my bets. Like I'm harvesting
Never thought
half of
about
it
it.
so I have something, and if the rest of it grows, good, and if it gets ruined, at least I didn't lose it all.
Thank you. Never thought about it. Great tip. Great tip. At least 50% is saved.
Exactly.
Not everything 100. Gonna do that from now on. Thank you.
All right. On that note, I guess maybe we should wrap it up. I'm so glad that you persisted at me about doing this. I'm really glad that we
Thank
had
you
this
so much
conversation.
for accepting and
Yeah.
inviting me and making it possible. I appreciate it. Oh, I appreciate your time of making the videos, your courage, because I know YouTube can be nasty, especially
can
with the
be.
comments.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for doing this. Because you and I were meeting here. There's no money connection or something that forces us to be here. We're just being here for the passion of interacting, of
Yeah.
talking to each other, and that's so genuine. Thank you so much for all your genuine content. Thank you. I
you.
appreciate it. It makes a
Thank you.
huge difference in my life. Sometimes, there's a moment or a day like you're a little gloomy and you just a little down. And I watch your videos and I'm like, oh, so cool, so nice images. As I said, the footage, beautiful and so different from what I get, like the snow and the animals, and your kids are amazing. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Great
That was
job.
nice. That'll get me through the rest of the weekend. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, Erin. Thank you so much.
Bye, Bruno.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking to Bruno. I don't usually enjoy talking over a screen. I find it really draining. And so I've been quite hesitant to take that step with the podcast of interviewing people who are not physically in the room with me. But I actually really enjoyed it. It really went well. Bruno is a really sweet, enthusiastic, intelligent, compassionate guy, and I really liked talking to him. I don't have any facts to check. Bruno didn't say anything that seemed inauthentic. I did an observation that I made to him was, because he watches my YouTube channel, he knows a lot about me. I'm very open and honest and vulnerable on my YouTube channel. So anybody who watches my YouTube channel knows me very well. And it always feels like such an imbalanced relationship because I don't know anything about them. And so for Bruno to reach out to me and for us to have that chat and me to get to know him a little bit, I really had a lot of fun with that. And I said something to him about that, about how I don't get to know my viewers. So he sent me a video where he gave me a tour of his gardens and his backyard, and it was a lot of fun. I really loved it. And now, of course, my kids want to go to Brazil, so that has now been added to our list of countries that we're hopefully going to hit on our trip around the world, which is getting bigger and more expensive by the day. There were a couple of things that Bruno talked about that I had thoughts in my head at the time, but I didn't want to interrupt him. So here's sort of my thoughts about, for instance, he talked about how there's this idea that there's the first world and the third world, and that everybody's supposed to want to live in the first world countries and not live in the third world countries. And that's something I really noticed when I lived in Uganda, this real idea that everyone was like, I wish I could live in Canada one day. I wish I could live in Canada one day. And I can see why Canada seems appealing, because when they look at it, they see everyone lives in these great big houses and everyone has cars and everyone has free education and free healthcare, and they don't have free education or free healthcare in Uganda. So I can see how to them it seems wonderful. But then once I started talking to them about what society is like in North America, just how isolated we are and how we don't really visit with other people, whereas in Uganda, just everyone was talking to people all the time. They were always outdoors, out in the streets. Everybody had a huge community around them. You had a really big family. Everyone was really close. The human connection in Uganda was so much stronger than it is here in Canada. And I think what I would say about that is that we pretend like these countries are just obviously better than these countries, but they're not. They have their pros and cons. There are good things about these countries, and there are bad things about these countries. And there are bad things about these countries, but there are also really good things about these countries. And you have to choose which one suits your needs better. And I think there's a real misconception from people in first world countries that of course everybody would want to live in America if they could. Of course everyone would want to live in Canada if they could. But that's not really true. It just depends on what you want. There's advantages to both. And then one other thing, Bruno asked me if we see climate change in Canada, because they see it down there. And that what climate change looks like is just more dramatic weather patterns, like rain that rains heavier than it's really ever rained before, quicker and faster and heavier and out of season, and then a swing to a different, hotter and drier and more than it ever usually is. And we actually so when I talked to him, which was 6 days ago, it was 16 degrees Celsius here. Yesterday morning, when the kids and I did chores, it was 6 degrees Celsius, and there was not a speck of snow on the ground. And 24 hours later, this morning, when we did chores, there was almost 3 feet of snow, and tonight it is minus 18 degrees before the wind chill. Once you factor in the wind chill, it's minus 25. So yeah, that's some pretty extreme swings in weather, I'm gonna say. It's pretty wild. I mean, this kind of weather, you did get really big snowstorms back in the 70s, but not generally right after 16 degrees. And you did rarely get 16 degrees, but usually not immediately followed by a massive snowstorm. That's sort of what climate change looks like. All right, that is it for my interview with Bruno. I really found that was a really nice, lighthearted, enjoyable interview. Next week, we are talking to Gwen, who has been running her own market garden since she was 16 years old. So it's going to be a lot of gardening talk. I hope you like it. And we'll see you next time. Take care.